Hello all, and thank you so much for joining me on a new episode. Today we're going to be making French strawberry tart, tarte aux fraises. To start off, we're going to be making our base. Now you don't have to make it, you can definitely buy it, but homemade is better. To start off, we're measuring 200 grams of flour, 30 grams of almond powder, 90 grams of powdered sugar and salt to taste. As always, a full list of all the ingredients and the measurements will be listed below. Go ahead and give that a good final whisk, and then it's time to add in 100 grams of very cold diced butter. Emphasis on the very cold. Your butter should not be warm or room temperature in any way. Now we're going to go ahead and just gently mix all that in together with the tips of our fingers. The point here is not use your entire hand. You don't really want to warm up that butter. You're going to try and keep it as cold as possible. I actually had the aircon going at this time to keep my house pretty cold because it's quite warm here in France. Next, we're going to prepare our wet ingredients, which is simply 1 egg briskly whisked, and then you're going to make a tunnel in the middle of your dry ingredients and add every last bit of the egg in. This is the only wet ingredients you will need for this recipe. Go ahead and incorporate that with the tips of your fingers until everything forms a nice dough. You might need a little bit of patience, as it can take roughly about 5 minutes before you start to form a ball. Once we've formed our ball, I go ahead and scrape the sides and the bottom for any pieces that might be stuck to the bowl. And then I go ahead and tightly cover that with some cling film or beeswax paper if you have. Go ahead and place it in the fridge for a minimum of 30 minutes. Now it's time to get started on our Crème Pâtissière. Go ahead and heat a thick bottom pan to about medium heat. Add 375 grams of milk. You can use whole milk, but I used half and half. There's also some vanilla inside there, as well as a vanilla bean split in half with the seeds cut out. Give that a little quick stir and leave that to heat. Keep an eye on your milk so that way it doesn't scald or burn at the bottom. Continuing with our cream, we're going to add 70 grams of sugar, followed by 45 grams of corn flour. Go ahead and give it a whisk just to get any lumps out of your corn flour. Following, we're going to be separating 3 eggs. We're going to want the yellow of the egg, so go ahead and separate that and add the yolks to the sugar mixture. Go ahead and give that a whisk. It's going to form a really thick consistency. It might be a little bit difficult to whisk, but you'll get there. Once your milk is hot enough, we're going to go ahead and add small amounts to the egg mixture. What we're doing here is tempering the eggs so that we don't get an eggy taste in our custard. So go ahead, add a bit of liquid, give it a mix, and then we're going to put all of that back into the pan and bump the heat up to a medium-high. Once on the heat, you're going to want to continuously stir it just gently because it will thicken up quite fast. Once it gets thick enough, you're going to want to change to a whisk and continuously mix. To finish off our cream and give it a good richness, we're going to add 40 grams of butter and whisk that in until fully combined. You will be left with a smooth, delicious, rich crème pâtissière. What I'm doing here is optional. I'm passing it through a sieve just to get the smoothest consistency possible. But you don't have to do this. You can simply go ahead and put it in the fridge. Before moving to France, I've never had a strawberry tart like this before. Usually a strawberry tart for me would resemble something of a pie. But here in France, they kind of amplify the strawberry tart with other elements like the Pâte Sablée and the custard cream to give it a depth of richness and flavor. I found that most French tarts are made in a similar way, just with the fruits changed out. Sometimes it's with raspberries, other times it's with blueberries, sometimes it's a simple mix of any berry you can find. One amazing thing about French tarts in the summer is that they're so fresh. I'm lucky enough to live in an agricultural area where we grow a lot of fruit and vegetables, so these strawberries are as fresh as they come. I like to cut my strawberries with the head off and then slice them down the middle long ways. This will ensure that the tart gets a nice height to it from the strawberries. After 30 minutes had passed, I went ahead and grabbed my pastry from the fridge. I'm doing 6 smaller tarts, which is why I'm separating the dough into 6. But if you're just doing one big tart, go ahead and roll it out. I started flattening by hand, and once I got an even enough circle, I went ahead and floured the surface and rolled it with a rolling pin. The dough will be a little bit more fragile than store-bought dough, so just be a little bit more careful when rolling it out. You want to have about 1/2 centimeter in thickness. Grab your baking tin and gently place the rolled out dough into the middle. Flatten the edges and the bottom, and if there's any excess, just take a small knife and cut it off. Once they were all done, I went ahead and gently poked a few holes in the bottom and on the side just to let out any air. Once that's done, go ahead and put them in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius for around 20 to 25 minutes, just until they're golden brown. Once cooled to the touch, I go ahead and remove each pie shell from the tin. Look at that golden crispy crunch. With the piping bag, I go ahead and pipe in the custard cream into each pie shell. You don't have to use a piping bag, you can definitely use a spoon. I just find I have a little more control with the piping bag. Go ahead and gently place your strawberries in a beautiful circle and voila! This tart is definitely beginner friendly, and I would say it's an easy way to impress friends and family when you have them over, is simply to make them a homemade French tart. I really hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and as always, a full description will be listed down below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next video.